End of day 8 here in Paris. Another gold for Australia. We'll get to that shortly, but talk about all the action and things we've seen right throughout the day. Got James Magnussen, world champ, two-time Olympian. Maggie, how are you, pal? You going good?
Another great day, Matty. Look, a little bit of fatigue at the pool. We're night 8. Usually the meet would be over by now. For whatever reason, they've dragged it out in Paris, so we've got one more day to go. Yep. But a very exciting day as well. We saw some finals of the athletics, some tough weather conditions for the athletes out there, and then that medal tally, America and Australia just getting closer and closer.
We didn't get that medal we're after, which would have made history. Might be tomorrow night. But Maggie, I've got to say that last event that we saw there, you were critical of it before it took place, and it was, I must say, after, it was strange to watch. You want to explain it?
The mixed medley relay, Matty, I would call it the egg and spoon race of the Olympic Games. It is farcical. You've got men swimming against women. I mean, we've seen it in the boxing and nobody likes it there. We come to the pool, we've got men swimming against women. Kaylee McEwen won the gold medal in the 100 metres backstroke. She goes up against Ryan Murphy, who got bronze in the men's 100 backstroke. There's about a 15 metre difference. On their own, they're both amazing products. Put them together, I don't know why we want to compare male athletes and female athletes. And then the race itself just ends up this absolute jungle of one person's 10 metres ahead, then the other team switches. You've got male breaststrokers versus female breaststrokers, male freestylers versus... It's just a shambles of an event. I can't understand why it's at the Olympic Games, and I can't understand giving out Olympic medals to that event. Like, you're telling me at the end of the day that that's worth the same as like an individual gold for an Ariarne Titmus in the 400 freestyle. It's not comparable.
To be honest, probably another swim that Kaylee McEwen doesn't need. I want to talk to you about that, right? So Kaylee, looking at her, like the last couple of nights, she swims, a little bit of a rest, back out there. The amount of volume she has to go through, different strokes, different distances. A question for you, her training, like her preparation, how long does she spend in the pool compared to someone who's got, say, 100 freestyle? That's all they have.
Yep, so say 100 freestyle, let's go with Kyle Chalmers. Would do probably 7 swimming sessions a week, up to 40, 50 kilometres a week. Kaylee McEwen, in preparing for this Olympic Games and the volume that she's doing, would be doing 9 sessions a week, up to 80 kilometres a week in the pool. It's chalk and cheese, and what I think it does at times, I just wonder how good could Kaylee be at that 100 backstroke if she specialised in time. This is the first time she's made the final of a 200 IM at a big meet. Geez, she looked tired out there in lane 1. She has been quick enough to probably win that event. But what a week from Kaylee. I mean, she's a tough racer. She gets in a dogfight. She fights to the final stroke. But, geez, it's a big week. And she's up again tomorrow night in the medley relay.
Right, I'm curious about this, Maggie. So, the men and the women, do they train similar? What are the differences in preparation? Like, do the women do a lot of work in the weights room and stuff like that?
It's pretty much even on both. Surprisingly, I'm sure you've seen the physiques at the pool. The female swimmers have amazing physiques. They're very strong body to weight ratio, low body fat percentage, and that's progressed a lot in probably the last decade. The female athletes now in swimming are just superior. They're amazing athletes, but of course the men naturally you're going to carry a bit more bulk. Similar workloads in terms of kilometres in the pool, but yeah, you have to take your hat off to people like Kaylee, Ariarne, Molly. We've seen them all 5, 6, 7 times this week already.
Yeah, it's funny talking about that, like different styles of training. The 2000 Olympics, the Dutch swim team trained in Newcastle for a while, and they were using some of the same facilities we did. I'm trying to think of she was a legendary. Inge de Bruin. She's in there, mate. She's doing squats and rope climbs. She's a machine. Where Peter Van der Hoogen?
Yeah, Van den Hoogenband.
He very rarely went in the gym. He was just a technician in the pool.
Probably different approaches. She was a power athlete. Funny little story about Peter Van den Hoogenband. So when they brought out the super suits, Peter couldn't wear the super suit because he had a concave chest and it'd fill up with water. So when you saw Peter going head-to-head with Michael Phelps and Ian Thorpe, they're in the big suits, and Peter's just got the legs on. He had what every pirate wants. Yeah. The buried chest.
The buried chest. Right.
Sorry, Peter.
Hey, another thing I want to ask you about, right? And being a layman, just sitting in the stand going, what's going on? So what we've seen with Kaylee McEwen is she'll have a race, win a gold, goes off, she might be 30 minutes late, she's back out there again.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this, right? Let's say, for instance, I was swimming in an event, first up, and I had to swim after. In the first event, I was a rough chance of a bronze medal.
Yeah.
In the second swim, which is an hour after, I'm a very good chance of gold. You're
Yeah.
my coach. What do we do?
We'd be specialising. We'd be picking which one is your main event, and we'd be scrapping the other if they fell on the same night. And historically, that is what Kaylee's done in the past. She has specialised in that backstroke and therefore flicked off that 200 IM. But this meet, she's gone for the treble. Didn't quite get it. But what it does, it gives you a little bit of extra appreciation for a guy like Leon Marchand, who's got up, done two 200s in the same night, won gold in both, crowd at fever pitch in both, and managed to stay level emotionally and get through that without a hitch.
If a coach asked you to pull out of one, would you?
Yeah, absolutely. We always specialise. The coaches, when I was swimming, were obsessed with getting me to do the 200 freestyle and therefore the 4x200 relay. And I say, if you can do the 100, why would you want me to do an extra 2 laps and do an extra 20 kilometres a week? I'm specialising, baby.
Do you think? Yeah, right. Yeah, I like that. Do you think that some of our swimmers are spreading themselves a bit too thin?
Oh, not on this team. I think particularly these girls at the moment are as talented as swimmers as we've ever seen. That they're up to the workload. For Kaylee, this is the first Olympics she's done it, so maybe she needs to do it at a few more World Champs or Com Games before she gets a proper chance at triple gold in Olympic Games. But I've been so impressed by her, by Ariarne again tonight. So she's done 2 400s, 4 200s, and now 2 800s. That's Ariarne. That's kilometres of race.
I got to say, I am blown away by the amount of volume. Because I mean, in my sport, I don't want to be rugby league centric, but in like sports like rugby league and AFL and whatnot, it is like playing a first half of football. You're knackered, you go into sheds, and you come back in the second half, and you're playing against a completely new, fresh team. It's remarkable.
They're so mentally tough, these girls as well, which is why I think sometimes they're underappreciated. We'll look back in 20 years' time. I'll be telling my grandkids I was there to witness Kaylee McEwen, Ariarne Titmus and Molly O'Callaghan. And I don't think we quite appreciate that at the moment, because I know in 2000, all we spoke about was Thorpe, Hackett, Susie O'Neill. We are now in the era of O'Callaghan, McEwen and Titmus, and it'll be remembered throughout history, but we really need to appreciate it right here and now.
Tomorrow night, which concludes, firstly, I'll ask you, do we get that gold, do you think, that breaks all the records?
Okay, so Australia on 7 gold, US on 6. This is a proper fight now for who is the most superior swimming nation in the world. There's 4 events tomorrow night. 50 free, neither are Australia or the US realistically win a gold there. 1500 free, same deal. So it comes down to those last 2 4x100 IM relays. If America wins one or both, they top us on the medal tally. If we win one or both, we top America. So buckle up for that.
Now, tomorrow night, to give a bit of notice, tomorrow night I'm going to ask you a question at the conclusion of this. Who's your top 5 Australian swimmers from year 2, including the 2000 Olympics? So from 2000 forwards, who are our top 5 greatest swimmers from 5 to 1?
Okay.
You might make a couple of enemies.
Oh yeah, that's all good fun.
It's called a hook and tease. Righto, now, talking about athletics, we've got News Corp's Brent Reid. Reedy, how you go? Now, you have been the kiss of death. No Australians did a hamstring out there today.
Well, it wasn't a great day, but we went all right, Matty. We should
Honestly,
start with 100, though.
Steve, can we send Dave Riccio out there?
He's too busy winning gold medals on the bikes. We should start with 100, though, Matty, because it's one of the blue-ribboned events of the Olympic Games, right? The women's 100 metres. Julian Alfred won. It was a bit of a boil-over because a lot of people thought Sha'Carri Richardson wouldn't win it. But we should start with the controversy, because there's a lot of controversy out there today. With Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price, she didn't show up for a semi-final, and she was due to run against Sha'Carri and Brie Masters, the Aussie girl. Didn't turn up in the blocks. No one knew why. And well, there's a lot of mystery around this. That subsequently come out on social media. There's a video of her arriving at the warm-up track today in a private car. She got refused entry, had an argument with security over why she couldn't get into the warm-up track, and subsequently now she's pulled out of the semi-finals earlier today. So we'll get to the bottom of it eventually. But 2-time Olympic champion, Matty, silver medalist in Tokyo, one of the great sprinters of the world, in the history of the world. Of all time, basically, and didn't turn up for the semi-final.
That's incredible. I mean, I've been knocked back entry into a few nightclubs, but I mean,
you kept going back, though.
I still turned up on grand final day. Yeah. But that's bizarre.
And it's a huge story. I mean, because no one knows the truth at the moment. I was down in the mix zone afterwards trying to get athletes. You could see journos looking at their phones and ringing people and trying to get to the bottom of what happened. And it sounds like Maggie's the one who's closest to the mark. But I mean,
Yeah, I've heard some
there was a bit of talk about a hammy problem. But obviously there's videos appeared on social media of her, as I said, arguing with security at the warm-up track, and there's a bit of talk that maybe that prompted her to go, well, it's not good enough, I'm not going to run, which I would find amazing.
That's
well,
4 years preparation.
Yeah.
She was the reigning world champion in that event, right, as well.
Yeah, she's done it all.
France has had some PR nightmares this Olympics, but this one is right up there. She is one of the golden girls of the track. She's had a baby, gone away, come back as a mother, and was a red-hot shot at winning this race, particularly when you see the time they won in tonight. Yeah. And now she's been refused entry. This is not going to go down well.
There's been some big ones over the years. Remember Linford Christie did the false start and then just laid on the track? Remember that?
Well, there was a bloke today, an English guy, funnily enough, an English guy, who ran in the very first heat of the day. It was Josh Hazapati, the Australians heat, I think, from memory. He had a false start, basically wouldn't leave the track. Was arguing with the officials, stood there, wouldn't go. Then he came in the press conference afterwards. He did the meet in mix zone, and he said, "Look, I don't think I broke. It's not fair." And basically, what you can do then is protest. And if you're successful, he runs on his own, 100 on his own, to try and get into the semis. So that's how the day started with that. And it's just it sort of speared out of control of that. But Julian Elfred, great story, Matty. St Lucia, population 180,000. Tiny island in the Caribbean.
That gives some bragging rights over Jamaica. No?
And it's produced the 100-metre champion of the world, and Sha'Carri Richardson got upstage because everyone thought this was her Olympics. She obviously started in the Sprinter Series. And
wasn't that close in the end, was it?
No, and it's funny because they ran against each other in the semi-final earlier, and Alfred won that pretty easily too, and then she's come out and won the final pretty easily. So
what about, we saw the images of the track when they were running. It's pouring rain right before it, and the track is wet. Would that affect the times at all, or because they're on tartan and they're wearing spikes, no drummers?
You're asking the wrong bloke, Maggie. That's on
the car. My sprinting
days are long gone, Maggie.
Well, I'll tell you what, Noah Lyles.
Yeah.
He sees the boil over today. Look, here's the thing about the sprinting. You don't know, we're talking about the semis here in the 100. You don't know how much they're holding back, but I must say, he didn't trot over the line like Usain Bolt used to. He came third. I think he ran 10.04. The young English guy.
Louis Hinchley. Great story.
Now, that is the flying mullet.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he ran 9.98.
Yeah.
So there's some pressure on Noah Lyles.
He's a great story, Matty. I mean, this is a kid who was going to be a professional golfer. He got scouted by Manchester City, the Premier League club, but he wanted to be a sprinter. So he wrote an email to Carl Lewis, the legendary Carl Lewis, and said, "What can I do to help my sprinting?" And Carl Lewis has now taken him on. Carl Lewis is now his coach. And
that's cool.
during the period he's been coached by Carl Lewis, he has improved exponentially, and he was magnificent today. I mean, he left Noah Lyles in his wake, so he's one to look out for in the semis tomorrow night.
Got a ton of confidence. They were saying going into it, he was saying, "I'm going to win the gold." Yeah. He said, "I'll beat this bloke."
He's just getting better and better and better. And when you've got Carl Lewis in your corner, I mean, he knows how to win gold medals, right? So
what about Marcel, who won the last Olympics from Italy? Everyone said it was a fluke. He hasn't won anything since. He hasn't gone close to that time since.
He's faded badly, hasn't he? Yeah.
Well, again, he was on the Sprinter Series, wasn't he? They spoke to him on the Sprinter Series, and he's had some injuries and some things sort of holding him back. But
it's a massive
why can't
test.
history repeat? So.
It's a massive test for Noah Lyles.
Huge
test. He's turned up as the GOAT. He's walked in, the champs here, all that sort of stuff. He's come third. Again, we don't know how much. And you've said before already, he travels with three therapists. So that says that you're a bloke that can be pretty easy rattled.
And it's funny, Matty, because when Sha'Carri Richardson won her heat yesterday, she just walked straight through the mix zone, didn't talk to anyone. Noah Lyles ran in his heat today, and he stopped, did 2 media interviews, and again he talked about that issue. He said he's basically getting around in glasses and a cap, to try and hide away from people, hide in the back. Well, I'm picturing one of those Groucho Marx, those Groucho Marx glasses with a moustache.
Well, mate, that's the thing. Reading it like today, he did an interview, and he's gone from being this extrovert to suddenly saying, I'm getting noticed all the time. It's freaking me out.
Which one is it?
You sort of get the sense he might be becoming a part of the seams a little bit. Yeah.
Well, he didn't run great today, but as you said, it's only the heat, and they hold things back in the heat, and he's going to be there. I reckon, in the final and give it a real shake.
Now, Aussie, Ollie Hoare, who's a terrific
Yeah.
young bloke, real shot, 1,500 metres, he didn't make it.
Yeah. Commonwealth Games champ.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was in the repechage we spoke about last night, which is ridiculous, right? Got a second chance, and again there was three of them: Adam Spencer and Stewie McSwain. They were all in the repechage, and they missed out on the semis. And he spoke about it afterwards. Ollie Hoare. What he spoke about was the criticism and flack he copped on social media after he ran so poorly in his heat. And he said he's just been hammered on social media as a result of that. And again, these guys, they're all on social media. Brie Masters, that's how she makes her money. That's her job, her social media profile and using social media. But it does leave you open to become a target. And Ollie Hoare didn't run great and got hammered.
And that's the thing, people of our generation, Rudy, we go, I'll just get off it. But it's part of their lives,
their life.
I'll give you a tip. Week of your racing, you log out of your social media, give your manager the logins, they post the content and read it and reply to any of the comments. To be on social media, reading comments from other people, getting rattled the day of your race, that's something that a really young, inexperienced athlete would do. I'm super surprised that popped up here.
They've got to realise, mate, they're listening to, they're basically listening to 40-year-old men who are living in a basement at their parents' house. I mean, they're imbeciles. it's true.
Yeah, it is.
It really affected him, Matty.
It's crazy.
He went out today. He ran hard, but obviously couldn't get the job done there. It's a real disappointment for him because there were high hopes around Ollie Hoare at these games.
I'm pumped tomorrow. Tori Lewis in the 200, the girl from Newcastle. Yeah. I'm pumped. Fellow Novocastrian.
Good omens too, Matty, because she got drawn in lane 9 in the very first heat of the day when she beat Shakara Richardson at the London. Sorry, not London. I think it was China Diamond League earlier this year. She ran in lane 9. So there's good omens there, Matty. So hopefully she can get the job done again.
I thought he was going to say good omens. He's not going to the track tomorrow.
I'll be there.
Yeah,
cheering her on.
Now, boys, when I say 92 million, who do you immediately think of?
Only one man. Only one man.
Bomber Bedell.
Bedell.
Let's talk boxing with Pete.
It's probably up to 93 by now.
Well, boxing's been one of the biggest talking points of the Olympics. Joined by News Corp's Peter Bedell, Mr. 92 million. Hey, Pete, but you're at the fight today. The Algerian fighter stepped back into the ring. What took place?
Another amazing day, boys. I mean, it's been the biggest story of the Olympics so far, and to be there on day one of the boxing, there was probably about 20 or 30 journos there. There was clear seats either side of me for the first 2 or 3 days. In the last 2 days, it's just grown exponentially, and today every bit of the press tribune was taken. There were journalists sitting on the floor. Security were threatening to throw them out if they didn't get off the floor. There was not an empty seat, and it was interesting, boys. I took some photos of this media scrum because I've never seen anything like it in my life. But there it is there. 300 journos in the mix zone where the athletes come to explain their performances. Maggers has been there himself. It was pandemonium, and you had journos basically going up to the speaker to try and get the audio. It was quite remarkable.
No winners in this.
Never seen anything, mate.
Pete, what was the reaction of the crowd when the Algerian fighter went into the ring?
So, the irony is, Khalif is getting a groundswell of support. I thought there'd be boos for Khalif when she came out to the ring. I think that the tide is turning. There are people that feel sorry for her. And as she was walking to the ring, there were cheers. And then her Hungarian opponent, Hamori, came out and there were boos for Hamori. So, amazing stuff. But after the bout, when she won comprehensively, Khalif, she then punched the canvas and screamed out her name and then burst into tears. It was this remarkable paradox of emotions where she went from it was almost a siege mentality to say, stuff you all, I've won this bout.
Things like this, Pete, it's very easy to lose the human side. You know what I mean? I always bring it back to, and it's a very common one, but it's a good one. If that was your child.
Yes.
You know, it's, as I said, there's been no winners in this mess. The Italian fighter, I thought, showed who Khalif beat, showed a lot of class. She apologised for not shaking Khalif's hand after their bout.
And it was fascinating, Matty. The twist to that was the IBA, the International Boxing Association, giving her a $50,000 US payment, a bonus payment, which they only had reserved for the gold medalists in this tournament. If you won gold in this tournament, you would get $50,000 US. They gave that to Carini for losing in the round of 16. Now, to me, that smacks of a political up yours to the IOC. I think the IBA's disgusted at the fact that they're being kicked off from the governance of this. It's been handed over to the IOC to supposedly clean up the sport. They've now created a bigger inferno than we've ever seen. So I think this is the IBA's way of saying, stuff you. You think we couldn't do a good job, or what have you created now?
Before we go, when does Khalif fight again?
So she fights on the 6th of August, another 3 days. So she has a few days off now, but she's got a guaranteed bronze medal, which I think is a PR disaster for the IOC. They should be ashamed at the way they've handled this. I think Thomas Bark, their president, should resign. I think this has been shamefully shambolic, and they don't have any understanding of this issue. And she can win gold from here, and I think she will. I think she's the best fighter in this competition, but still to be seen what happens.
Story rolls on. Good on you, Pete. Appreciate it, mate.
Thanks, Matty. 94 million.
Jess Hollering up next.
And climbing.
Well, Jess up to 96 million.
Can I join this show? Can we just have like the bomber, the missile, and Matty? I'm big in Germany, apparently. Just ask Crash.
360. Here he comes.
Yeah. Hello, Bray.
Oh, very good. Hey, we welcome Jess Halloran. Now, you come with the big story of the day for Australia. We win gold in the tennis.
Yeah, huge day for us at the tennis. John Peers and Matthew Ebden won the doubles, and it was a dogfight. It was pretty epic. Like, they looked like they'd almost lost it in the second set, and they were break down, and they were 4-2 down. And then finally they fought back, and this game was completely decided on tiebreakers. And so, yeah, it was heart in the mouth stuff.
Well, they weren't the stars of the show, though.
No, absolutely not. Ali, the gorgeous daughter of John Peers, she's 7 years of age, and she was standing there the whole time, crossing her fingers in this final tiebreak, just willing on her dad, because her dad has promised her if he wins a medal, then she can take it to show and tell.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's nice.
I'd upstage that. Do these two play together in doubles outside of the Olympic team?
Not often, right? And so John Peers is not the most, highest ranked doubles player. Matthew Ebden is obviously a very accomplished singles player, a great doubles player. But he chose John just for his fortitude and how much he really wanted to medal here. He's medalled before in Tokyo.
Now, water polo, the men's water polo side, what a win over Hungary. And till you go to Hungary, you do not realise how big a sport. It's their national sport. Yeah. So that is an enormous victory.
Yeah, it's also a humongous victory. This is a team that's never won a medal at the Olympics, the Sharks, and they're really building to something special here. You've got 10 debutantes. Blake Edwards today, who's one of the co-captains, said it was simply unbelievable that they've brought down Serbia and brought down Hungary.
Wow, that's awesome. And finally, we get a silver medal in the windsurfing.
Yeah, with Gray Morris, who is a former schoolboy rugby player. He was part of the first 15 at Cranbrook.
We want to be careful, he might get a start with the Wallabies.
Yeah, so
cheap joke. No, very good.
Yeah,
Jess.
no, it was a great one.
Good on you, Jess. We better, we've got Rudy over there just off the bit. He's, would you believe it? You wouldn't believe it, he's hungry. There you go. See you tomorrow, guys.